But in Oregon, you are a criminal if you dare collect the water that falls on your own property. That's what this is all about, Darrin. It's total runaway government, total control over your life. Pretty soon, they'll probably tell you can't have sunlight on your own land. You can't breathe air without paying a tax. I mean, it's already almost that way with the carbon taxes. It's total insanity, Darrin, and it's getting worse.
Well, yeah, it's scary stuff indeed, and it did manage to get a little bit of mainstream media attention, not nearly as much as it deserves, but we have a clip set up right now, and this is Gary Harrington and his attorney last week on Fox and Friends. Let's check it out.
An Oregon man was sentenced to 30 days in jail for collecting rainwater on his personal property.
That's the government's water, and he broke the law. So, Gary, the state of Oregon says you are a water thief, right?
Isn't that terrible? Boy, we've had these ponds for 37 years.
So, Gary, are you going to report to jail?
Oh, if I have to, yes. And I'll pay the fine. But, boy, I am just going to fight like crazy to keep the water in the ponds.
And, of course, he is indeed spending 30 days in jail as we speak. And so let me get this straight. Rainwater fell on his land, on his property. But now the government's saying that it's the government's rainwater, and he's in jail for stealing from the government. I'm just trying to make sense of all this, Mike, but I guess it won't ever make sense, will it?
Well, the government uses a lot of word games like they always do, mind games. They say it's not the government's water, it's the people's water. Oh, yeah, right. But you have to...
Community property. Community property.
Exactly.
Yeah.
It's communism, it's socialism, it's all runaway bad ideas.
To be self-efficient and not to be dependent on the government, but the establishment, they want you to think that it's the government that creates prosperity, not individuals, not entrepreneurs or hardworking people like you and me and the majority of our audience, you know. And I think, you know, what they're doing, they want to make this a nanny state, and we have got to fight this with everything that we've got.
And I agree with you. And the sad thing is that about half the population wants the nanny state. Look, they're so apathetic. I mean, runaway apathy. They don't have any courage anymore. They don't have a single independent thought in their brains. They're the Obama bots. They just go along with anything they're told to do. They love the state to be the nanny, to tell them what to eat, tell them what medicine to take, tell them how to vote, what to think. They watch mainstream news and they think that's factual. They don't recognize it's a fairy tale. So those people are frankly, to a great degree, hopeless. It's only those who watch InfoWars and, you know, who read my website, Natural News, and other independent alternative media who are informed and who really have a chance of surviving what's coming. Maybe we can get into some of that too. Well, I hope so. I hope so. I'm really wondering, what is that line in the sand for the American people? You know, what is the bridge too far, so to speak? At what point has the government crossed the line? Because so far, everything they've done, people just go along with it. Even TSA.
I was going to say, if you're going to allow them to grope your kids going through TSA, I mean, that was their green light. I think once we allowed that to happen, they just said, we could do whatever we want.
Well, that's right. I mean, they're going to start coming to your house and having soldiers seize all of your food, you know, take your teenage daughter away and have their way with her. Loot your jewelry, take your gold, and people are going to say, oh, no problem. We don't want to be labeled extremists. We're going to go along with that. I mean, that's what America has come to. It's half the population are just pathetic slugs. They have no consciousness. They're zombies, man. I mean, they're gone.
All this is brilliantly portrayed here by Neil Haig. All these things, taxation, you can't do this, you can't do that, don't say that, health and safety, political correctness, oh, watch what you're thinking, oh, watch what you say, oh my God, is to tie us like flies in the spider's web so we can't move. We've got people worrying now about, is me wheelie bin out on the wrong day? Is it a few inches too near the curb? And you know something, and this is important. These people are taking the piss, and I'll tell you why. They are throwing this crap at us, and if they don't meet significant resistance, they go, okay, we'll throw even more crap. I'll get into this in the last section, but we need to draw a bloody line here. Not only say here and no bloody further, but we're going here and drawing it. Because otherwise they'll just keep doing it. And this is the key to all of this that I'm talking about. It is a mind game. It has to be. It has to be, because from mind comes everything. This massive stop, go here, don't do this, you can't do that, all this stuff. More and more fine detail of our lives being dictated. It's to turn us into the version of this. You put a mouse in a laboratory maze and you put shock equipment down different channels. When it goes down those channels, it gets a shock, it comes back. It might go down another time, it'll get a shock and come back. After a while, not long, you can take that shock equipment away, that mouse will never go down there again, because you've changed its behavior patterns. And what they're doing is throwing all this stuff at us, giving us punishments for doing this, punishments for doing that, punishments for doing this, but you're okay as long as you do this. And that channel of it's okay if you do this is getting narrower and narrower and narrower. And what they want to do is to bombard us and batter us into acquiescence. So we become subservient totally to the system. Never challenge it. Just stay in this narrow band of robotic computer terminal perception. To turn this into this, a bar-coded computer terminal, unquestioning, acquiescent robot. And they've done it before in smaller groups. This is China. This is waiting for work in the factory in China. And China is in so many ways a blueprint of the global society they want. 1.5 billion people in China. They're controlled by a relative handful, because the 1.5 billion are acquiescent, and therefore they cannot use their numbers to overturn the dictatorship of the few, because they're programmed not to. The rabbit hole goes very deep, even deeper than I've got to now. The journey continues. But it's to control perception and get us to believe we have no power. We bloody do. To get us to believe that we should just follow the one in front, because that's what everyone else does. Like bloody hell we will.